In breaking news, the Washington Post just exposed one of Donald Trump's biggest military lies, or just revealed perhaps the biggest case of Pentagon incompetence we've seen so far from this War Department. And so you can decide which it is. I have all the details for you next. I'm Dan, and welcome to another Occupy Democrats video. To get all of our reports about the misconduct by our bone-spurred commander-in-chief and his secretary of warmongering, please hit that subscribe button. While researching the shocking story that I'll share in just a minute, I discovered this other shocking story that is currently flying under the radar. On Christmas Day, Trump ordered a missile strike on ISIS terrorists in Nigeria. And in now what is a bonus report of gross military incompetence, it appears that a village free of terrorist activity was bombed.
Tonight, new video of missiles launching off a U.S. warship destined for northwest Nigeria. U.S. command says the strikes targeted Sokoto State. In a post on social media, President Donald Trump says he directed a, quote, powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria, who he said had been killing innocent Christians. A U.S. official telling CNN the strikes included Tomahawk missiles fired from a Navy vessel that struck two ISIS camps.
News website app. We're piecing together kind of first-hand eyewitness details now about the fragments of metal that are being found. What are we hearing on the ground, and what do we know, if any, more about the Nigerian collaboration in this instance?
I mean, we have spoken to a journalist on the ground in Sokoto who said to us that one of the communities hit by the strikes has never reported any incident of terror, and that the two communities hit simultaneously, there is only expected to be one where maybe potentially some hideouts of IS-affiliated fighters have been hit. Still very unclear, but in the community that has never reported any terror, they haven't had any casualties, but some homes of civilians have been partially damaged. Now, the Nigerian government has publicly acknowledged cooperation. They've said that they've carried out precision hits with the U.S., but at the same time, they also have had to publicly denounce the claims by the Trump administration. They're holding the line that they've held for the last few months, that no religious group is persecuted or targeted by terror groups more than any other group. And the data proves that attacks by militias, including Islamic State West Africa Province and Boko Haram, are evenly distributed across Christian areas in the south and Muslim areas in the north. And data even shows that there have been more hits on Muslim communities than there have been on Christian communities. So as these claims are debunked, it will be interesting to see how closely the Trump administration works with the Nigerian government on any future strikes.
And speaking of claims that need debunked, Trump has also been bombing suspected South American drug runners. It has been described as executions without due process, but there have been survivors, and surely if this action is more than orchestrated theater, they would be held and prosecuted, right? Nope, according to the Washington Post headline that reads, "The U.S. sank the alleged narco-terrorist boat and let them go." Quito, Ecuador. The police arrived at the airport prepared to arrest a drug trafficker, a mariner whose crewmates the U.S. military had just killed. Andres Fernando Tufino Chila was one of only two people known to have survived a U.S. strike on a vessel that the Trump administration alleged was smuggling drugs from South America. President Donald Trump had described the Ecuadorian and a fellow survivor of the October 16th strike in the Atlantic Ocean as terrorists, who would be returned to their countries of origin for detention and prosecution. In Ecuador, a government closely aligned with Trump on counter-narcotics enforcement, the administration had a willing partner, eager to learn. Several officials here said what the alleged trafficker could tell them about his employers. Tufino, then 41, stepped off the U.S. military plane at the Quito airport on the morning of October 18th in shackles, cut and bruised from the attack but walking on his own, according to Colonel Carlos Ortega, then the director of anti-narcotics for Ecuador's National Police. He was already a known trafficker. He had pleaded guilty in U.S. federal court to cocaine distribution conspiracy in 2021 and served more than 3 years in a U.S. prison before he was deported home to Ecuador last year. Now the U.S. military had picked him up amid the wreckage of a semi-submersible vessel, a narco sub. But in transferring him to Ecuadorian custody, 3 officials here said U.S. forces didn't provide any evidence that could be used to detain him. No seized drugs, no phone or GPS records, no videos, none of the intelligence that led them to target his vessel. On landing in Quito, U.S. officials told the Ecuadorians that the transfer was a humanitarian repatriation, Ortega said. Within hours, Tufino was let go. Those are just the highlights. For the full story, visit thewashingtonpost.com. What in the name of lies, hypocrisy, and military misuse is going on here? You know what's going on. Trump is using the drug narrative as cover to make a move on Venezuela for his own nefarious reasons. Ben Norton saw it coming and explained it in advance, and I'll give him the final word.
The United States is waging war against Venezuela. This is not a hypothetical. The U.S. military has bombed numerous boats surrounding Venezuela, killing dozens of people. Trump has publicly admitted that he ordered the CIA to attack Venezuela. And the U.S. military has 10,000 troops preparing to further escalate. The real question is, what is Donald Trump's plan? Is he going to send planes to directly bomb Venezuela in its territory? Is he going to send U.S. Special Operations Forces and CIA teams to try to assassinate President Nicolas Maduro? And I'm going to start by pointing out that Trump hasn't really hidden the fact that he wants to steal Venezuela's oil.
Venezuela. How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
Now, it's no secret that Venezuela has the largest known oil reserves in the world. And it's not just oil that Venezuela has. This is a country that is very rich in natural resources, including natural gas and gold and other critical minerals, including rare earths, which is something that the Trump administration is obsessed with getting access to.